All right, good afternoon. We are here in the greenhouse. December the 2nd, 2024. I am going to plant some Copenhagen market cabbage. I got this stuff at the local feed store, which we're kind of lucky to have a feed store still around here. Most of those things are going out of business now. But this one has, and we got 1/2 ounce for $1.50. I would guess that there are easily 500 seeds in here. And they had a full ounce for $3, but I don't think I can possibly use that. So, and I also got some, another one called a Golden Acre. A 1/2 ounce for $1.50. The Copenhagen market cabbage, I looked it up. It is a heritage cabbage. And from Copenhagen, from Denmark. And it is, I don't think it's a hybrid cabbage. I'm using this Pro Mix mixed with some of my Walmart special Miracle Grow. Now, the instructions, or if you Google the cabbage, they say sow it in the springtime. But you know, that's probably for places other than South Georgia. In South Georgia, we grow cabbage in the wintertime. Planting somewhere along in October. And trying to grow it in the wintertime. Well, now here in the greenhouse, these plants will be just fine. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do with them when they do get big enough to to set out, but we'll deal with that when we get there. I'm probably got if you bought one of these with cabbage plants in it, they probably charge you $6, $5 or $6, probably $1 a piece. So having a greenhouse, you can do considerably better than that. So Copenhagen and Green Acre. Now I am going to, there are two ways to do this. I could have wet this mix here and put it in there wet. It's not totally dry. Or the way I'm like to do it is put it in here and then put water underneath it. See, I've put water here, see? And that it will wick the water up to it. And one thing, I don't get muddy, I don't get muddy mud on my hands. And it stays light. So I am putting the water in the tray. And it will eventually wick up all the way. I'm going to fill the tray about half full. All right, we're going to pause for just a minute, and I'm going to get the rest of my self together here and show you how I'm going to plant these. And we'll grow these in here in the greenhouse until such time as they get big. I don't know, spring won't be, let's see, this is December, so it takes about 20 days for these guys. It'll take 1 month for these to get big enough to set out, so that'll be to January. And that would mean you don't want to plant these in February outdoors because they'll be young and tender. But we're going to grow them. But I bet you I don't have $1 per tray in the soil and the seed. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 4 is, what is that now? That's 36, isn't it? So I would say we're going to have about 2 or 3 cents per plant in there, including the soil. Okay, so we're going to break, and I'm going to come back to you. Okay, I have just taken my finger and just did a very small little indentation. And I'm going to try to drop 1, 2, a couple of seeds in each one, maybe even 3. The seeds are so cheap. And later, if 3 come up, I'll thin it to the best ones. But I'll tell you this, or the best one, when you do thin these plants, I'll tell you this, the tendency is to think, oh, I'm going to pull them out. Well, if you pull it out, you're going to damage the one next to it. And so what you do is you get your little bitty pair of scissors and you just nip it off, ground high. Just nip the plant off. Give them a chance to grow. And you'll leave the roots of the... Okay, so we have put 2 or more in every hole there. And the seeds are going back. I don't know how many flats we could plant. I probably just dropped 50 seeds there. Now, vermiculite. I would rather have vermiculite that is finer than this, but I don't have it. I could put it in the blender. You can kind of crush this up a little bit with your fingers a little bit, but this is very light stuff. And it will keep the seeds kind of covered up and keep them moist while they come up. Yeah, like I say, I like the vermiculite a lot finer than this, but the vermiculite that I bought was not finer vermiculite. It was this bigger stuff. And this stuff here, they say not to breathe it. So when you do make the finer vermiculite, I've made it, put it in a blender, and but I don't like to, this stuff is so light that it, now what I'm going to do now is I've put a little bit of vermiculite in every one. Now I'm going to get some of this stuff right here. This is a very fine mix right here. And I'm going to just put a little bit on each one. Just a little bit. And I think these cabbage seed are small, so we don't want to put too much on them. But they'll come up through this. Now our watering is from underneath. Believe it or not, it will wick its way up. So I'm going to resist the temptation to water this on top. And I just about bet by tomorrow, maybe even an hour from now, we are going to find that the water has wicked up to the seed. And if I come in here tomorrow and find out that the water has not wicked up to the seed, I'll make another plan. All right, so we're just going to pause right now. All right, this flat is going to be the Golden Acre. And I took my glasses off, and I'm going to put them back on because I can't see how many seeds I'm dropping. But I always overdo it. These things are very inexpensive, and there's 5 in there. Now, if you get the ones at the Ferry Morris and all that you get at Walmart and all, and you're going to pay a lot more. But then again, those guys up there now, or you go to get some of those seeds up there, and those little packages are up there $4 or $5. And now I was going to be a smart aleck and just pinch the corner off so I wouldn't spill it, but I can't get it back in there like that, so I'm going to have to go to the other way. Just tear the package open. You may not have a little seed store in your town anymore. Used to, every town had a seed store. All right. This is the Golden Acre, and I'll look that one up in a few minutes, and I'll tell you, let me get us something to carry. I'll tell you about the Golden Acre. I'm not going to put the vermiculite on it. I think this potting mix is very fine, and I think it'll do the job. It's got what is this white stuff? I can't. Perlite in it, which is it does a similar thing. It's been getting around freezing in here in the early morning hours, and probably up to well, it probably got to be 75 or 80 in here this afternoon. Very pleasant to be out here working. This is Golden Acre. And I am going to do the same thing with this tray. I'm going to, and I'm kind of mashing this up with my fingers as I go to make it an even finer covering over this, because there are some chunks of sphagnum moss in the Pro Mix. Why do I use Pro Mix? Because I looked at some YouTube videos and the people on there used Pro Mix. You know, there was a time when nobody used any of that stuff. They just used dirt from the yard. And they seem to be able to grow stuff that way too. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I am not going to water it from the top. This is soaked up pretty good here. It's almost all gone, so I'll probably take this tray out and put some more in there in just a minute. But right now, I am going to pause, and I am going to come back to you with a report on what this cabbage Golden Acre is exactly. All right, here we are. This is the Golden Acre. This is an heirloom cabbage that, according to the Google search, is well adapted to guess where? The southeast. It is 12/2/24. Apparently it's a very tasty cabbage. It's well adapted to the southeast. It's not a huge cabbage, but it apparently has according to the Google, a buttery flavor. It is not well adapted for storage. My guess is that means it's probably tasty, because usually when they breed vegetables to store, they sacrifice the flavor. I'll give you an example. Tomatoes. Used to, tomatoes had a very good flavor, but they didn't store well. The people that were running the grocery stores and the big box stores, they had to sell them so fast that it didn't suit them. So they started developing varieties that would so-called store well. And what that really meant was that they would sit there on the shelf without getting ripe. And they sacrificed a great deal of flavor and a great deal of, I'll say flavor, tomato flavor. They have been trying to fix that. And one way they fix it, now we're on tomatoes. One way they fixed the tomatoes was the old-time tomatoes had a little bit of a sweet flavor. The old heirlooms, the heirloom tomatoes. And so when they developed these new tomatoes, they developed them, instead of being a nice soft tomato, that you could just about play catch with them. It was about like a baseball. So what do people do? Well, they put sugar on their tomato. They make it into ketchup and all that kind of stuff, which is not particularly healthy for you. So these old heirloom varieties probably taste better. You probably won't find this kind of cabbage in your grocery store. But here it is on the second day of December 2024. And we have planted 2 flats. And I believe that the wetness, it is already coming through. I can see that. The wetness from underneath has wicked up. So that's exactly what we expected. This one here, we put a little bit more water. And I'll leave it like that. There's standing water in it. And that won't hurt this at all. That'll be good. Well, of course, we don't want to keep it like that, but it'll wick up and then it will evaporate. This one right here, got a good bit of water in it. Well, we're going to leave it. We want this stuff to be moist. And we will keep you informed. And here we are in the greenhouse. And I have messed around and got a splinter in my finger because I ran my finger along the edge of this plywood. And I noticed as I get older, I don't know if any of y'all can relate to this, but I seem to get more splinters and more bruises and more places where I hit myself. And now the skin gets thinner, but Another thing is you don't see as well. So I was reaching up here to do something and I actually missed what I was doing and ran my finger there. It's just a little bitty fella, a little bitty splinter. But I'm going to have to go in the house and get out my splinter kit, which is a needle and a magnifying glass, and get this splinter out. All right, that's my little video on planting the Golden Acre and the Copenhagen Market. Now, I did not find in the description of the Copenhagen Market that it was particularly suited to the southeast, but this one said it specifically. All right. I'm going to put this up. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it encourages you to get out and do some gardening. And I wish that I wish that all of you could have a wonderful place like this to garden in. I want to say God has been so good to me to provide me with something, a nice building like this, so that I could get out and garden here. This greenhouse is practically useless in the summertime because it's just a hot place. But we just let the grass grow up in here, and then when the fall comes, we get in here with a weed eater and start cleaning it up and start using it. All right, so thank you for watching, and this is Gardener Israel signing off.